From Army Ranger to Naked and Afraid icon, E.J. Snyder brings a lifetime of survival experience.
They want me to go on this pilot show called Naked and Afraid. I'm like, what is this, pornography? And they're like, no, it's just a holding title. And I'm like, well, that's pretty stupid.
If you look up top leading survivalist, EJ, more often than not, always comes up number one on a lot of those lists.
Well, I am ranked the number one survivalist in the world on the list of the 10's tops.
Yeah.
I was always in the top 10. I've climbed to number one about 2 years ago, which is a pretty great honor.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have a doomsday kit?
I am the doomsday kit. Like I said, my truck, it rolls around. I've got a deck.
Doomsday kit.
Yeah, I've got a decked toolbox I just got. It's got my entire survival class in there, which is basically a survival kit. Yeah. I've got guns under the seat. My truck is rigged.
Get ready for raw survival wisdom, incredible stories, and insights from a man who embodies the spirit of resilience.
All right. I'm here with E.J. Snyder. He was on my other podcast. We're talking in the pregame. I like this guy. He's a conversationalist. He's done it all. And a sweet spot for me is survival right now. It always is, got a little prepper in me. But I really, he's the full 360 experience when it comes to survival, combat, how to survive in the wilderness, his origin story, tells it all right there. So, EJ, take us back a little bit, look into the Reader's Digest version of who you are, where you're from. Give us a little, take it away. Tell us a little about yourself.
So I'm EJ Snyder. If you want to find out more about me, we're revamping my website in February. It's a relaunch for the brand. www.ejsnyder.com. You can connect with all my social medias there. Pretty much if you type in at EJ Snyder 333, you're going to hit them all. Facebook, it's EJ Snyder, as well as YouTube. So there
Can I tell you one more thing? Can I say one more thing? If you look up top leading survivalist, EJ, more often than not, always pretty much comes up number one on a lot of those lists.
Well, I am ranked the number one survivalist in the world on the list of the 10's tops.
Yeah.
I was always in the top 10. I've climbed to number one about 2 years ago, which is a pretty great honor. Yeah. Speaks to my craft. I was a poor kid in Jersey, so everyone's like, how the heck did you get into this? But my dad, he was a hunter and a fisherman and outdoorsman. So on the weekends, that's where we went. When he'd pick us up, when he had us in the summers, we just did all this stuff. And I knew that's where I belonged. And so I joined the Army at 19, did 25 years as an Army Ranger in airborne infantry units, went to the Gulf War in 91, went back to Iraq for 15 months in 2004, retired as a Sergeant Major E9, went through all the schools, whistles and buttons, Ranger School, Pathfinder, Jump Master. I was a survival instructor. That's where I went through formal survival training. Pretty much fell in love with it. Became my life, my passion. And then when I got out of the Army, right before I got out of the Army, started dabbling in TV because I always wanted to be on TV as an actor or a stunt guy. So I started doing some of that stuff. I was on the TV show Lost, did some of that in Hawaii. I finally retired. That was my hobby at the time. And, it was something else to do besides surfing and doing MMA stuff I was 42, 43 at the time. And then I got out of the Army and I tried to apply out for all these reality shows like Survivor, which I was a huge fan of. I applied like 18 times. Well, I finally got called up and was a finalist in season 21. After about a week, they called me up and replaced me with Jimmy Johnson, a football coach who had been trying for 2 years to get on the show, but he had to clear his medicals, and he finally cleared his medicals. And I was like, well, ain't that some stuff? I'm a Giants fan, and you can put the Dallas Cowboy coach out in my spot?
You're going to regret this. Though. You're a survivalist. He's not. I loved. Hey, I'm a Dolphins fan. I mean, I don't know why. But I mean, what's even correlation? He's just had the name or whatever.
He had the name. He had the people. I was only 2 years out of the Army, so all those casting directors talk, and so all of a sudden they start passing my name around. I started doing this show, that show. Then Discovery found me and tried me out for Dual Survival. They were replacing Dave Canterbury at the time, one of the original hosts. I tried out. They brought me in actually as a ringer because there was 5 people they have to try out by their rules, and they lost a guy, so they needed somebody last minute. They found me, and I don't even think they knew what I was going to do. And I came in there and blew the doors off of it, and it came down to just me and Joe Tedeye. Production loved me. They knew I had the credentials for survival. I was a military, had that, can't poke holes in my resume. And Joe, he had this spooky CIA resume that he had kind of inflated. and they grabbed Joe over me because the Discovery loved that. And so, but Joe honestly was the right guy because he had that. He really is. I worked with him on another show. He is kind of rough around the edges. He is a bit of an a-hole in some ways.
That's what they want, controversy.
But for that particular series, and so I think it was God's grace because next thing I know, I get called up. They want me to go on this pilot show called Naked Afraid. I'm like, what is this, pornography? And they're like, no, it's just a holding title. And I'm like, well, that's pretty stupid. You should call it Bear Survival or something like that. That makes more sense. And what do I know? So Naked Afraid is birthed. I filmed the pilot episode and did 21 days with Kelly Nightlinger, and the rest is history. I went on to do 6 more challenges. I did 3 21 challenges, twice with partners, once by myself in Bulgaria. I was the first man to do it 3 times. I'm the oldest guy to do it. I went back after Colombia. I did 40 days, Naked Afraid XL. Went back to the Legends episode in the swamps. 60 days with the Legends. And then I got called back once they went back to the Amazon where I went the first time after 3 people quit. This time they had half the cast quit. So they lost 6 people in the first week. Me and 2 other of the Legends went in to help out our friends because there was a few of our friends in there trying to do 60 days again. And so there we went. So I did another 43 days there. So I got 206 days on Naked Afraid and 0 taps. And I was supposed to go back the last couple of times for Last One Standing, possibly Last One Standing 2. I won't speak of it because I'm not on an NDA. Never mind.
Okay.
But the first time my daughter was getting married, so I had to pull out because it kept moving the end date. And then this last time, my mother has cancer, so she just got out of her first surgery, and I had a lot of unknowns. So I decided to tell them I had the contract in hand. I'm like, look, I can't make this. I don't know what's up with my mom, and if something happens, I'll never forgive myself. And so I did the right thing. She went back in the hospital 3 more times, but that's okay. They said I'll be back out there, so stay tuned. So I did Naked Afraid 6 times. I hosted season 9 of Dual Survival, went full circle. Hosted a show called Mountain Masters that was on the Inspire Network. It was on First Man Out with Ed Stafford in the first season, filmed that pilot as well. So I'm known to be brought in to consult, do a lot of pilots. The rest of the story is I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a writer, published in many magazines. I'm getting ready to be a published author this year. I'm a filmmaker. I have I'm a social media influencer, a brand ambassador. So I'm doing all those things, trying to keep the wheel moving. Getting ready to probably work with Mr. Beast here real soon, blowing everything up all over the map, getting ready to start doing some consulting on TV shows. From a survival wilderness perspective, got a movie coming out next year that I co-star in. I'll do a guest cameo, and I'm actually the co-executive producer on it. So my world's just blowing up, and you think at 58, you retire from the military. I've been retired, like 14 or 15 years now, and people are like, Sergeant Major, you're supposed to be chilling out and fishing. I'm like, yeah, I do fish. I do it naked with a spear and a chick next to me, and it's great.
Ray Kroc didn't get started until he was our age. And here's the other thing. You know what, man? You're a pit bull. You know why? A pit bull could do anything else any other dog could do and then kick its ass.
Oh, you see my service dog then.
Is your service dog a pit bull?
My service dog is what they call a bull boxer. He's half pit bull. He's got some boxer in him, some American Staffy, and a little bit of American Bulldog. So all of his grandparents, both grandpas were pit bulls. Grandma was half pit bull, boxer, and American Bulldog. The other one was pit bull and American
I got Staffordshire. I'm a pit bull guy. So, but that's the thing.
I never had the breed, but I am. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
I'll defend him to the end. And so pit bulls are good analogy.
Yeah. Because, first of all, they're sweet as hell. Just got to make sure they're trained right. Yep. But, they could really do anything any dog can do, and then they can protect themselves. Which leads me to my next thing. The world seems like volatile lately, and
very volatile.
Every man thinks about survival, and you're like, I'm into the show Reacher right now. Maybe I'm on season 2.
Oh, Reacher.
You like that show too?
Yeah.
That's you, bro.
Quirks as a military guy that I'm like, but I love it for what it is. And I love that this guy Reacher is no Tom Cruise because Tom Cruise is too small. Here's a side story. I was picked to be the guy in the original Tom Cruise movie of Reacher, to be the guy in the bar who starts the trouble and he gets in the fight with them. And then the director saw me and they're like, no one's going to believe Tom Cruise kicked this guy's butt because I'm the size of Reacher for real.
Right.
So I just love that. And Reacher, he just looks you straight in the face, talks to you real serious, has a one-liner, then you get one of these.
That's right. Here's the thing. I'm watching this thing,
Yeah.
And I love superhero movies because I'm 5'7" on a good day.
Okay.
Right. I work out. I look like I'm like a pit bull. I look tough, but I don't know any martial art, so, the thing is, when I watch that, I love that this guy can take care of himself. When you watch that, you have a different perspective. I mean,
but
what are you thinking?
That's why I got into survival for real. I mean, here I was in the Rangers teaching in the swamps, teaching Ranger students, and they're like, "Hey, you're going to go to SEER school and you're going to learn survival. You're going to learn you're going to go to tracking school and you're going to take this courses over and train all the students." So I was like, okay. So I did it. And then I was like, Y2K is coming. I'm like, you know what I want to do? I want to master this. I don't care if I'm the best on the planet. I just want to be the best me I can be. And I want to be good enough to take care of me and all those that I love are around me. And so I just want to be a total, the badass on the planet that, because when I came in the Army, Johnny Rambo, I watched, First Blood, and I know this guy's, fictitious character, but I'm like, somebody really is that guy. He's surviving. He's killing hogs out of the tree. Somebody really knows how to do that. And if they don't, I'm going to be that guy. And that's, I went in the Army to try to chase that down. And so it led me on my path. And so when you want to be prepared, there's three things with that, I'll tell you. First off, it's about situational awareness, being aware of your surroundings at all times, whether you're going down to the grocery store, you're driving in your car, you're out in the wilderness. You got to pay attention and feel the signs. When you get tuned into the universe, whether it's out in nature or in the wild, I pick up on spirit tone and all that stuff. They call that your sixth sense. Maybe it's your Jedi powers, you got the Force, but that stuff's real. And that helps you with your situational awareness. And so when you're tuned in, you will foresee problems before they happen. Pay attention, because there are bad actors out there, people, not actors, but people that want to do bad things to you. They want to take what you got. And when the world flips, they're going to come out like cockroaches. So you got to be ready. So your situation awareness is first. Second is mindset. Mindset's composed of many things. It's having an iron will. It's having that, no surrender, never quit attitude. It's about having a big heart. It's about, having yourself, knowing your skill sets within yourself. What are your capabilities? If you're physically, you can't do something, then how do you do that? How do you fix it so that you can do that? What do you need to do to be the great equalizer? Then it comes down to knowledge and training, having that skill set, knowing some basic first aid, because there's three things about survival every person on the planet should know how to do. One is swim. Swimming will save your life for sure. Two, some basic first aid, because it'll save your life and that of others. And then three, basic survival training. Just knowing the core four. There's 9 pillars to survival, but get the core 4 down first: shelter, fire, water, and food. And just have a basic skill set to understand how to do that and provide for yourself, whether it's in a survival kit. Because I worked out of gear for a long time. Naked Afraid forced me to be the guy that goes, oh, I just go out with a knife. A lot of those guys are full of crap, but I really have done it. And now I'm at the level where I can do it. So if you go to my website, I've got tutorial videos, not just mine, but a bunch of my buddies, because they're important. And I'm not just trying to sell you a video. I don't make nothing. Most of it I send off to veterans charities, but I want people to get that information. So you got my everyday outdoor survival skills series, which is 14 and a half hours, 11 videos, basically, of all the basics of survival. I did it during COVID. I've put it together, and I think it's $160 maybe, but you're going to get EJ Snyder teaching you with all my little one-liners and all that stuff. And then we did the ultimate bug in and home defense video, because we learned in COVID, 90% of the world is going to stay home. Yeah. The other 10%, 5% of them, they're bugging out to go bug in somewhere else. There's really only 5% of the folks on the planet that can truly go into the wild and stay there. Yeah. And so, there you go. Situation awareness, mindset. And then lastly, be a lion. be an alpha, be a leader within yourself to lead others. I'll take, an army of 100 sheep led by a lion than an army of 100 lions led by a sheep. So don't be a sheep. Think forward thinking, have a plan. Anytime you go somewhere, when I sit in a restaurant, I've already identified every exit, every problem, put my back to the wall, looked at all the improvised weapons that are laying around me. I'm always packing anyway, but just in case I don't want to escalate to that level, how am I going to make that situation better for me? And then, by the way, if there's other people around and I take an action, make sure it won't affect them in a certain way because I've got a responsibility to the lives in that room. So that comes down to your OODA loop. Your OODA loop is the amount of time where you see something or it hits your brain for you to react in a certain way, whether it's speaking, because your mouth can get you out of a lot of problems, or reaction. And we do that with dry firing. There's the target. There's the bad guy. Let me get my pistol out and put round on target. And if you can get that OODA loop is like 3 seconds. If you can get it down, everyone wants it down to 1.5 or less. That could be the difference between you living and dying. And so you want to be able to think in where most normal civilians and other people that haven't been like through the military. Military trains us to make life and death critical decisions that will affect the mission in milliseconds. So I've already analyzed, assessed, made a plan, and making action within less than 3 seconds. Because the law of threes, you can make a life or death decision. You got to be able to do that in less than 3 seconds, because you can't last longer than 3 minutes without oxygen, 3 hours without security or shelter of some kind. You won't make it more than 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, and 3 months without social interaction, where you start to go a little loopy.
Really?
There you go. I preached long enough. So
you encapsulated that real well. And that's some great shit. Let me ask you a question. Do you have a doomsday kit?
I am the doomsday kit. Like I said, my truck, it rolls around. I've got a deck. Doomsday kit. Yeah, I've got a decked toolbox I just got. It's got my entire survival class in there, which is basically a survival kit. Yeah. I've got guns under the seat. My truck is rigged. Now, I don't rely totally on that. I have a pack if I have to get in the woods, because if an EMP hits, electricity goes down, your vehicle's screwed. So,
right. Now, there's EMP shrouds. There's like a Faraday shelter, like
Faraday shelters and
those
stuff.
Work. Yeah, I don't want to get too deep on that.
Yeah, they do work, and you can have them. And then what if another one happens? So I came out, I'm good to go. Another one hit. Now I'm exposed. So always have a backup plan. I always say have a backup to the backup. But my truck is a rolling survival shelter. When I throw the 5x8 on it, I've got camping gear in there and all that stuff, extra supplies. So it's always ready to roll. So if things go bad, I'll run the gas as long as I can with the extra tanks. And hopefully, we get to a spot where we can survive. I'm headed to the mountains because elevation and other philosophical, biblical prophecy reasons and other things. But I'm a total survivalist, so I think of every problem that could happen. I'm working on an off-grid property and compound now. I used to want to be I'm a nomadic survivalist, and I can do it that way. But as I'm getting older and 58, I've got others around me that maybe can't do that. I'm like, well, maybe I need to build a compound and have our base camp out of there. And then if we have to leave, then that's that. And we just have a plan for it. But always have a plan, a primary, an alternate, a supplement, at least have a primary, alternate, contingency, and emergency. So you always want to have a pace, backup to the backup to the backup, I say. So
great acronym, PACE.
But if you get the ultimate bug-in home defense guide, which is going to be a book this year, we're releasing it out in book format. But if you get the video, I go over all that stuff: pace planning, how to defend your home, and be ready for when bad days come.
I bet you're getting busier the past 18 months.
It is getting busier. I've got a lot of private survival classes I teach. I do a lot of small groups where I get to go out and come to you, or you come to me. Most of the time, I like to travel, so it's not a problem. And you should train where you're going to be mainly living. So it's great to go somewhere. Let's go see something different. But if you're living in Ohio, then you should get your training in Ohio, because the wood, the fauna, the edibles, it's all different than maybe say in Texas
Right.
So that's what I like to preach. But I do offer small groups from anywhere from up to 2 people to 10 people, sometimes more, just depends. And then I do larger groups over 15. I've trained as many as 180 people at one round robin camp we did. And then I have people that ask for me one-on-one because they just want some time with me, personal coaching.
Right.
That's a bit more expensive, but and I'm actually I do motivation speaking, but I'm moving into some life coaching now. Probably do it through Zoom. Unless you want me to come one-on-one with you somewhere, then we'll figure it out. But I know I'm on this planet doing my calling, which is to help people figure out how to survive bad days, fix themselves, be a role model, be a leader, and be out in front in all facets. So any medium I can get on this podcast, I'm grateful for. I've been doing a lot of podcasts. I'm going to start my own this year.
Awesome.
Because I just need to get this critical information out. I need to reach the masses. And this is TV. And this format here is the greatest medium to do that now.
Right.
Radio is kind of dying off. People are doing more podcasting, and TV is always there. But so it's about getting good information to the everyday Joe or Joe, and that's what I'm about doing. Whether it's in a book, you get a video, you go to my YouTube channel, subscribe there, or any of my social medias. I always put the videos up. You'll get 1 minute tips, tricks, and hacks on survival or other stuff. We're going to start branching out to some other things. But I went viral because I found a glass bottle, and I showed you how it's going to save your life. And I put some pond water in it, and I boiled it in a fire, just like it was. And people were like, oh, it's going to break, and it boiled really quickly. And then I got it out of the fire using 2 sticks to kind of tong it out.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, a minute video, you can only do so much. And then you hear people, I didn't see him drink it. And then you get all these trolls out there. But it's like, I got to let it cool off before I could drink it. I only got a minute to show you this. But it was my first video, went viral, got over 3 million views on one of my social media platforms, but a couple million on all the others. And it was just crazy. Sitting there on a Thursday night, people thought that was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Awesome. Real quick, before we get into a story, what kind of truck you got?
I've got a Ford F-250.
Nice.
Now,
okay.
I was a Jeep guy for years, Wrangler, and it's great. It has its capacities. In the Army, I drove Jeeps when I first got in. They're maneuverable. They can go places where my truck really can't. So I'm really interested in the Broncos. So for a number 2 vehicle, I've had Jeeps. I like them. I want to check out a Bronco for a number 2 truck. And I drove I got into an F-150, and I love the extra room. I'm 6'3", 250 pounds. So it's like, I like the room. And I found the truck was more versatile to haul stuff, to do things. So I've got an F-250 now. That was my dream truck, but I have a 31-foot RV travel trailer that I pull. It made it a little bit easier. The F-150 was doing fine with it, but and I took that thing. Here comes an outdoor story.
Yeah.
So on top of it, Rhino Rack, I have a Pioneer platform with the adventure bars, and then I got a extra large basket attached to it, which isn't supposed to go up there, but I got it. I got my off-road guys over at Performance Off-Road here in Fayetteville, North Carolina at Riley Road. There you go, Billy. Figured it out, and then I put all my lights on it. I've got my deck toolbox. Well, I got the 5x8, and I took a trip out southwest to teach classes, do appearances. I do these campfire chats. So people that don't want to learn survival, but they want to ask me questions and come hang out and learn a little skills, they come out, camp with me overnight, teach the kids, little, nice survival classes. We cook s'mores, we tell stories all night. It's a real fun thing. So I had this trip plan, and we went out to Arizona. I went up to Utah. I went to Moab. So in Moab, I want to go sleep on the Colorado River. So I want to go to base camp adventure on the other side. And then got to take this Jeep trail up. It goes up to 9,600 feet at the pass, and you go down the other side. So I got this, I laid on a mud dome, like this Adobe thing that I was going to stay in, right? I'm like, I got to get there. So I pull into Moab after going through this massive sandstorm through Arizona, and I get my supplies, got a 6-pack up front, ready to go. And I'm rolling up there. And all of a sudden, this guy flags me down. He's like, hey, where are you going? I'm like, who are you? He's like, oh, I'm with the Jeep Jamboree. We got Jeep Jamborees coming. I'm like, oh, really? Well, that's great for you. I'm going to sleep on the Colorado River. You can't go up there. Why? This thing will never make it. It's an F-250 and you got a 5x8 on the back. Oh, okay. So I pulled off a couple of beers on the ring that I had left, and I threw them to him. I kept one. I threw the other two to him. I says, hold on to those. I'll be back for him in about 5 days. Hope you're here. Off I went. It was crazy. It was hairy at times. There was drop-offs, 700 feet, and I'm trying to make it through with this wagon. With this truck, it looked like the chuck wagon train, and a boulder come flying off the top of the cliff and slammed into the left side of my back corner panel, back behind the back rear tire. It bounces up, hits my brand new 5x8. I just got the thing, smashes in like the left front side as you're driving, and then it bounces and smashes my bumper, and it's all bent up. And then I look at this rock's all crumbling and going down the side of the cliff. I'm like, thank God that thing didn't knock me off the cliff.
Yeah.
And I get out, look at the damage, like, Moab, so we'll put a Band-Aid on
military
it later.
response.
So I got on the other side, spent 5 days over there, had a great time, and then was teaching some classes, and then I had to go. And that night I went to sleep. I woke up the next morning. There's snow, like a foot of 10 inches to 12 inches of snow on the ground. I'm like, when the heck did this come in? It was April. So I'm all packed up from the night before. I get my stuff, load up, off I go. And the guys at the camp go, "Hey, where you going?" Well, I gotta get on the other side. I got a schedule to keep. I gotta go. I gotta be up in Colorado. I got an expo I gotta be at.
Yeah.
You can't go. I'm like, why? It snowed. You'll never make it over the pass.
Here's some beers.
That's what the last guy said. I'm out of beer. I'll owe you one. Off I went. The guy was running behind me, and I went up over this pass, got to the other side. And so that's just, one of the little stories of how I roll in life.
That's crazy. No, man, Jeep. I mean, I can't. I'd be shit a brick if I had to do that kind of, trek. But I've had Jeeps, and my F-150 just does me fine. But those things are workhorses, those 250s, and they can haul a lot. Yeah. But I can't imagine. I mean, that's a little much though. If you're doing trekking it through like those kind of off-road kind of situations. I don't know.
So they say for this guy, and it looks cool. So my truck fits me. I love it. And now my service dog, he owns the entire back. I've got it all rigged out for him to chill back there.
We saved we saved the best story for last. This is a story that you told me on my other podcast a while back. Let's do one of the just a battle of attrition right here. We're going to talk about one we talked about in the pregame. Send us out with that. We'll do a little post game.
All right. Sounds good. So I'm on my 5th XL challenge, or my 5th challenge with Naked Afraid, and it's called Legends. And so they move us to the Atchafalaya Swamp Basin in Louisiana. And I also consult for the show. So I'm always talking to producers about locations and this stuff. They always got my ear. I'm dedicated to the series. And they originally told me where they were going to go. And originally I was an afterthought. I wasn't supposed to be with this group. And they were like, well, we're going to go to Seattle. I'm like, oh, Seattle in end of September, October? I don't think so. Well, what can we do for people to get through it? I'm like, well, don't go. Maybe they're going to need some hides or something. You're going to have to do something. So they decided, and it was just at the end of COVID. So it's fall of 2020. So I said, well, we're going to go to Louisiana, Atchafalaya Swamp Basin. I'm like, I'm familiar with that place. I did it in dual survival. I go to Louisiana often, so I'm familiar with the swamps. So they're like, well, what do you think? I'm like, well, you have to give everybody deer hides, or we're going to have to be able to, we can go out with bows, but, you want to guarantee people to make it. It's going into the winter. People that have never been in a swamp in the winter, it's a wet cold. It'll go right to your bone. Mm-hmm. So we wound up getting some hides in that. And so off we go. Everybody gets their partners. There's 3 other teams, 2 guys, 1 girl. My team, I get the 2 smallest females. Great ladies. They did well in their challenges, but I saw them and they were so thin, and I just was like worried for them. And as we went through the challenge, it started getting colder. Both of them wound up tapping fairly early, before 2 weeks, because of the cold. But they left. I had their pelts, so I had 3 deer hides. So got one for a cloak, one for a mattress, one for a blanket. So I'm pelt rich at this point. Sadly, all the work is on this guy. So I'm out there for 2 weeks doing all the work. being by myself, which is not a problem because I go out alone a lot. I love my solitude. I'm my own best friend. I entertain myself. I've got about 39 days in total on Naked Afraid, just being by myself. And so I get to 2 weeks and I'm like, I'm tired of going up and down the beach and letting my drop lines out, which I'll still do it, but I'd like to fish right from my camp. So I got this little, area like a beach kind of for whatever swamp beach is. And there's a willow tree that's knocked over. It looks like a snake going out over the water. I want to make a lake here. We've got all these green lilies in here. I want to clear it so the fish will come up to the surface and get at my bait. Because with the green there, the catfish, the bowfish, the bowfins wouldn't come. So I get in the water. I start clearing the lilies and I start making a fence to corral the lilies away. So I work the right side, go out as far as I can, roughly about 50 yards. And then I work the left side under the tree as far as I can go. Now I want to push the lilies out a bit further and try and go out, maybe swim out 7,500 yards. Had some floating logs. My plan was to push them out and had these long poles to stake them. So I had all that stuff pre-positioned. So I'm moving along this tree. I'm not the most agile guy. And I'm clearing the lilies, staking them, finishing up the further part towards the end of the left side. And I get to this one spot, and there's one. This is a fell over willow tree, so it's basically a branch that grew straight up, and it's pretty thick, like a tree trunk. And it goes out about 6 feet. And at the end of that 6 feet is another 6-foot branch that went up that looked rotted and broke off. And I'm thinking, and it ends. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to put this pole in here. I'm going to get around this tree, and I'm going to crawl out on that branch, and I'm going to sit down and spread my weight out so it doesn't fall out and finish getting the rest of the lilies. So I get there and I test it for my weight. I'm like, yeah, this can probably hold me. And I get clear of the tree, and I had just put this stake in the long pole that was clearing the lilies within the water, staked it in there. I took a second step, whack. I try to turn and catch the branch. I'm going into the drink, and all of a sudden I feel myself get speared. Initially, I thought it was something in the water, but later, as we reran the episode, when they aired it, I could see it was the pole that I put in the water myself, and I impaled myself. Ooh. So I knew something happened. I swim out of the swamp, and I'm like, oh, the swamp got me. The swamp got me. And knowing that they have the drone up and they've got 3 cameras going, I'm like, all right, well, we're filming. In my head, I'm a dedicated professional. We got to keep this going. Oh, you damn swamp. Lots of expletives. I'm covering myself up because all I had on was my necklace. So I'm covering my privates up. And I took a little peek, and I could see there was a little blood. And I was like, you tried to castrate me, you stinking swamp, blah, blah, blah. And probably some adult words. And I cursed the swamp, and I storm off. Camera guy's trying to follow me. I was like, hey, no, I'm going to take a leak. And he's you know the rule, don't follow me. I'm going to take a leak. So I got around the backside of my shelter because I needed to take a look at really what happened. So I take a look, and I can see everything on the inside of my testicles, torn in 2 places, wide open. And I look up and I go, really, God? Of all the things you're going to kick me out of here, I tear my balls? Please. Why couldn't you have an alligator come up and bite my left hand off? That would have been way cooler. All right. Took a breath. I'm like, okay, I got this. I can handle it. There's nothing bleeding out. Everything looks intact. So I come around the corner. I look at the producer. I'm still covering myself up. I'm like, all right, Paul, you tell Dave, the executive producer, I'm not going anywhere. Tell him right now. So he calls Dave up. Dave, EJ says he's not going anywhere. All right, good. Now you go tell that medic, get her butt up here. Anna, get up here. Tell her bring her medikit. Bring your medikit. And tell her to bring her stitch kit too, because I tore something and I exposed myself. The camera crew's like turning white. The audio person, she starts throwing up.
I'm dying
like,
just hearing about
guys,
it right now. Yeah.
Come on now. So I sat down. I'm like, it's going to be okay. They're like, EJ, you tore your balls. I'm like, just a little scratch. Give me some dental floss. I'll stitch it up myself. So Anna turns the corner, and here's Dr. Anna, and she's like, I cover myself up. They give me something to cover myself up with. It was a deer pelt. I put a deer pelt over, and she's like, EJ, what'd you do? I'm like, well, I got a little problem, Anna. I'm going to need a stitch or 2. And I open it up and show her, and she's like, oh my God, you're going to need more than just a stitch or 2. Oh, and she's getting all white. And I'm like, Anna, you can do this. We got this. So they had to call the emergency flight nurse in, who's on her day off, takes them, 30 minutes to get a hold of her, fly her in, took another 40 minutes. And I'm watching the sun go down knowing I got to get firewood yet. These guys are going to have me in the middle of the dark, freezing, and I don't have any firewood tonight. And it's going to get cold because it's already into October. And Danny comes up and she's like, oh my God, EJ, if I can't get the dirt out of this thing, I can't get this clean, you're going to have to go home. You're going to be out of here. We got to send you to the hospital. I'm like, look, get a Brillo pad, whatever you need, give it to me. I'll scrub it out. Let's clean this thing. Let's start stitching. I've been here long enough. And so she's like, all right, but first the producer steps in, they bring a tarp. I'm sitting on the log. They're like, all right, EJ, we got to film this. I'm like, film what? We got to ask you this question. You got a choice. You can go choice number one, go back to the hospital. You'll see professional doctors. They'll be able to put you on antibiotics. They'll clean it out real good. They'll stitch it in a clean environment, sterile environment. And you'll be okay. You won't get sick. You won't lose your testicles. You won't, no chance of getting infection and getting septic and dying. Or you can do number two, which is you stay here. We'll put you on this tarp, less clean environment. You could get an infection in your testicles, could go septic. You could lose your testicles, or you could die. Which would you like to do? I'll take door number two. Thanks, Paul. And is laid down on the tarp, says, let's get going. So she pulls out a needle. She starts squirting. I'm like, what are you doing with that? Oh, I'm going to numb the area. I'm like, look, honey, it's a sack, loose skin. I'm hyped up. The adrenaline's pumping. Let's just start stitching. You're going to hit me 12 times with that. Just 12 stitches. Let's go. She's like, are you sure? I'm like, give me the needle. I'll do it myself. Let's get stitching because we're losing daylight. So she stitches me up. She's like, all right, I got doctor's orders for you. I'm like, okay, what is it? 1, keep it dry. Look around. Clouds are coming in. I'm in a swamp. Keep it dry. Right. Now you got to keep it clean. All right. I'm covered in head to toe to mud everywhere. All right. What else? You got to take it easy for the next 10 days to 2 weeks. You can't do any hard physical labor because if you pop the stitches, then you're out of here. You can't do anything. I'm like, is that it? She's like, yeah, help me up. And I hobbled off. I'm like, I got to get firewood. And off I went to go get firewood for the night. And then they asked me, why are you still here? And I said, well, 1, because I'm EJ beep Snyder. 2, I'm not one of those candy asses sitting on their couch right now watching this who's letting life pass them by. 3, I got a 60-day mission I signed up for, and I'm only on day 27. I got 33 more to go. Oh, and if I didn't tell you already, I'm EJF and Snyder.
Nice. Wow. So I forgot what happened. I mean, I heard the story. Wait, did you stay the distance? You had to go home.
The distance.
You did?
Another 33 days. I built a dugout canoe, me and my partner Max, because the next day Max and Gary showed up. And then we wound up losing Gary. So me and Max were looking at each other like, what's wrong with us? We lost all our partners. I said, Max, don't you quit on me. It's just you and me now. And we built a dugout canoe. Cody Lundeen had did one on Dual Survival, so it was the second time a dugout canoe, but the first time for 2 people was done. We had this massive log we burned out, did a dugout canoe. We left my island after 6 weeks, and we found another spot, and then the others joined us, and we wound up being 7 of us, the 7 legends that wound up getting out of there. But I stayed there the whole time, and when I got out of there, I was, at that time, I think I was 55. I was the oldest person to complete a XL challenge, and then went back the next year to the Amazon. So
on top of everything that you went through, I said this before when he first told me that story, and I'll say it again. I just remembered, man, if I got a paper cut on my balls, I'm checking into Cedars-Sinai. That's crazy. that is intense.
But that's when you say the level, the mark of a man. And I'm not saying probably if you put 1 million people out there, 999,999 would say no. But, that's, if you're cut from a different cloth, right. If you put in your mind and you put that in there that, hey, I'm the Wolverine. I'm the real life Wolverine. I'm that guy that's going to, put my claws up and go after it. Because you're on this life to live on this planet to live life to the fullest, suck the bone out of every minute of it. When my number comes up to go, I'll be gone. And I want my legacy to be left behind. Say that was a tough SOB. That guy lived life. And wow, can we take something from his example? Because, they put me on this planet, because sometimes good people have to do bad things to bad people in order for good to prevail. And that takes a lot of guts. It takes an iron will and a mindset that is focused and is positive and is can do. And if I'm going to let something like a little bit of a ball sack tear stop me from finishing something, that's going to inspire somebody when they see that. If they're fighting addiction or they're going through some relationships or they think they're having a tough day, you be blessed and know otherwise. And I think about that all the time. I drive down the street and I see a homeless person out there or an animal out in the cold, and they're having a tougher night than I am because I'm going to a warm bed or something. I think a lot of those things in those terms all the time, but I can relate to their suffering because I've done it myself. And unless you've been in another person's shoes, you don't know what they're going through. And I always say this to everyone. When you see another person, or an animal or something, especially people, we're a communal species. And when you see a human, always remember the words you speak or the actions you take towards that individual could change their life or save their life, because you never know what cross they're bearing. You don't know what their situation is. And so be that light. And I always try to be that light in the world. And it doesn't matter. I do these challenges time and time again, put myself out there. I'm ready to go back out right now. I wish I could bottle up this energy. I don't know where it comes from, but I'm ready to go right now. And the reason I go is not for me, although it is a little for me. Let's be honest. But I know from doing these things, the one thing I never saw the first time I did this challenge was the tens and hundreds of thousands of people, now millions across the globe, that have seen my actions and taken changes in their life. Even people have told me, hey, I was getting ready to commit suicide, and I seen you one night on this show doing this, and you saved my life. I don't know how to respond to that. I am just a humble servant on this planet for the Almighty. And the glory is his. I'm just the messenger, the vessel. When I walk in, I've walked in some dark places in my life, but that what makes me a very dangerous angel is because I understand that world, and those demons can't hide from me.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm a self-motivated guy, and you motivated me today, man. You moved my blood. So I appreciate that, man. You did that last time. I'm just sitting there talking to you. We have the best episodes when you're on. So, man, thank you so much. Tell everybody how they could find out more about you. I mean, it's easy to find him, but just tell everybody how they could find you.
Well, you can just Google EJ Snyder and I'll be all over there, and you'll see more of me than maybe you like to. But EJSnyder.com. We're revamping the website. We sell gear there. We offer live service training, but relaunching the website in February. And then it'll be a little bit easier to navigate. We got hacked a few years back, and then we had to revamp the website last minute. And so we want to make it right again. So you can go to EJSnyder.com. You can link up all my social medias right there. But, you can find me. If you get on my website, please subscribe. You'll get all the updates. I'm going to be putting out weekly blogs, maybe twice a week. I do videos on all my social medias to motivate you, teach you survival tips. But I teach at the level of the everyday Joe or Joan. I'm not trying to make the next Bear Grylls, Cody Lundin, or Laura Zera. I'm just trying to make the best you that you can be. And so I've got another book I'm writing right now that's going to be very motivational. It's going to be very inspirational, and I'm probably going to self-publish it because I'm going through the publisher process right now. And yeah, they can get it out there to the stores, but they're taking a lot of the lion's share of the profits. And when I make profits, I donate 22% of all my profits to veteran causes. We got a pretty bad situation out there with homeless vets in need, vets with addiction problems, and they get out of the war and they just don't know how to find themselves again. And you got to figure out ways to fight those demons, and we try to do it together with veterans. But we're trying to shed light on those problems for the veterans right now, and work with a lot of other like-minded veterans, former vets or guys that are former soldiers, SF guys, and trying to bring awareness to that. I hope in the next 2 or 3 years, I've always had a dream of doing the Appalachian Trail. I'm hoping to go do it, and maybe do it to where I sleep under a cardboard box the whole way to bring awareness to the homeless veterans.
Well, I know people that have done the Appalachian Trail, the John Muir Trail, and dude, you got that. No problem. It's just a matter of you just doing it. So
yeah, for sure,
man. Yeah, well,
and it's a matter of taking that much time to go do it.
Right.
So for me, when I retire from my second career here, which is doing this and the TV thing and all that, in the next 2 or 3 years, that's going to be my retirement journey, to walk that off. And then I'll already be started my third career, which is coming this very soon this year, which has been very much a philanthropist and entrepreneur. So look for that. We've got Freedom Pickles coming. I'm working with a video game that's virtual reality where I'll be teaching survival in the VR. So you'll see this mug teaching you in the VR. Mm-hmm. I'm in part owner in a outdoor app called Sabo Outdoors. So for all you outdoors folks out there, go to your Google Play Store or your Apple Store, right? It's Apple Store for the iPhone, and get you Sabo apps, Sabo Outdoors, SABO Outdoors. It's basically the Airbnb for the hunting, fishing, and outdoors service world. And we're expanding. We just got it out this past year, 2023. It's a great app. I've got some other friends doing some other apps. So I got my hands in several businesses that I'm a part owner, a full owner in, and looking forward to starting that third career.
Well, you got tons of energy, man. That's what it takes. So absolute awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. It's always a pleasure. And I look forward to talking to you again, because you are a bottomless pit of value, of information and entertainment. So thank you.
You got it.
Thanks for joining us. Gear up for your next adventure and head over to BOLOTOR.com to check out the amazing Bolo Pack and their other innovative outdoor gear. Catch you next time.